welcome to the Tel Aviv University International Zoomcast. I have with us Asher Dayanim. Asher, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you come to be on the Zoomcast?
Yeah, so I'm a student at University of Tel Aviv. I've been studying here for about 8 months now. I'm majoring in Middle Eastern Studies and I'm doing a minor in entrepreneurship. And I'm really having an amazing time. It's the best year of my life.
Wow, amazing. Now, how did you come here? Where are you from?
I'm from Philadelphia, so I grew up in America. I knew a little bit of Hebrew growing up, but I came here to Israel for 2 years, and I've been learning so much about Israeli culture, Israeli society, Hebrew. I'm learning so much from these classes. It's really everything's really applicable to the real
Wonderful.
world.
Now, explain to me how your program works. Are you living on campus?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the dormitories right now. And in the dormitories, there's so many students from TU International, not just from the 2-year dual degree program or the 3-year BA program. There's some engineering students. There's some students just doing the old pond, some people in some kind of summer research program. A lot of people are here and you can meet so many people. And there's also Israelis just going to the regular university. So it's a really dynamic environment.
Oh, that's great. Now, talk about what you're studying. How did you choose what you're studying and how is that going for you?
Yeah, so I've always had a really deep interest in what's going on like in political affairs, especially around the Middle East. So I came here. I never really expected to study Middle East studies, but the department here is amazing. All the teachers here are really experts and they really do research and they're leading in the field. So I came here and started doing classes and I just fell in love with the complete it's like a very nuanced perspective that they have at Tel Aviv University. It's really interesting. And they teach you about the Middle East in ways that you can have interactive time. Like they take you to different places. You go to Jerusalem for a bit. You go around Tel Aviv. You see how really the culture is shaped by the Middle East and how other Middle Eastern societies function.
So tell me a highlight, when you think about something that you've learned so far in these last 8 months, what's the thing that stands out the most?
Well, I mean, I've learned a lot about Israeli history. I've taken a class on that, as well as a class about the history of Islam in general. It's really interesting seeing how those things kind of go together in that like you talk to a lot of the people who are Muslim in this country and they have this kind of deep history that involves the region. You talk to the Israelis and they feel like they have a deep history too. So it really gives you a nuanced view of the entire situation, of the entire dynamics of coexistence and everything. It's really an amazing place to be to study Middle Eastern studies for
So
me.
you've interacted with Muslim students as well as Muslims in Israel?
Yeah, in the dorms there's like a community just like walking around the streets. People are really nice and kind, and you can talk to everybody, and everyone's willing to share their life story.
It's awesome. Now, how is that as a Jewish boy from Philadelphia to come to a place so diverse as Tel Aviv?
It's really amazing. I've never seen anything like it. I I thought coming here it would just be I didn't know what I expected, but I'm around the international community here, just in the people that I'm my friends with in my circle. There's people that are Americans. There's Brazilians, South Africans. There's a lot of people from all over the world that just come here and they learn, and it's an international program. Like I didn't expect. I mean, I should have expected, but I didn't expect to see such diversity just in culture. I'm learning so much. A lot of people who speak multiple languages. There's like Russian and there's Arabic going around in my ears all the time, and Hebrew, of course. It's really
Now,
amazing.
have you picked up a lot of Hebrew from being on the program?
Yeah, I can start to speak. I have some family here that I didn't know how to speak to before I came, and now I can almost speak fluently to them. And
Wow, that's fabulous.
I'm really meeting some of my family for the first time in a sense.
That's amazing. Now, you mentioned to me that you are doing a joint program with Columbia University. Explain how that works.
So basically, we're in a program where we get in the end we get 2 majors and 2 degrees. So at Tel Aviv University, we go there for 2 years and we study a degree. I'm studying Middle Eastern Studies, and we go through the track in 2 degrees. And then after that, we're going to go to Columbia University, and I'm studying economics there. So you can see it's not very related, but the whole time at Tel Aviv, I'm taking some econ classes, and in Columbia, I'm taking some Middle Eastern classes. So the credits kind of share. And in this way, you get a kind of a global perspective of education in general, where I'm educating myself in this kind of intense global environment, learning new languages, learning new cultures, and doing a kind of liberal arts degree abroad. And then when I go to Columbia, I'm gonna have this kind of other degree that totally contrasts from what I did before. I'm gonna use the things I learned here to make my experience more profound.
How do you think that'll impact you as a person?
I think it's gonna be the most amazing thing that I've ever done in my life. It's really formative. I really am gonna have Israel as part of my identity now, and seeing that I can learn so much in the process of the transition, even going to Israel to America, America to Israel, and the process of finding myself in a new city and then a new city and the constant movement. It's really life changing.
Great. Now, when you think about, the last war, we had an escalation here in Israel not too long ago in May, and during that time, there was a lot of anti-Semitism in the United States. Were you in contact with any of your friends there, asking what it was like to be you under that rocket fire? Were you scared? And also, what message did you deliver to people abroad?
Well, the thing I always tell people abroad is that I really felt a sense of safety. I think the Israeli system is very good at make, even though there's rockets that are above my head, they're really good at making you feel like you're secure. There's a bomb shelter always really close to you, and the sirens are loud enough to like penetrate walls. It works. But my cousin especially, I was talking to her yesterday, and she was saying that like she really felt the anti-Semitism in the United States during that time, and she felt scared, and for me, I felt it on social media where I was attached to the American presence, but in Israel, I didn't feel anti-Semitism. I just felt kind of division. I felt that people that were friends yesterday like start talking to each other, in that like there are a bunch of Arabs and Israelis and they're coexisting within the university setting, and it just felt like you could see the kind of society crumble a bit, but it didn't feel like I was in danger as much as I should have felt, and as much as the Americans thought I should have felt. So it wasn't a sense of safety, it was more of a sense of stress.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And what about COVID, coronavirus? How's that been for you versus your family in the States? What's it been like, being here and being able to take off your masks and be free? And assuming most of your friends are not in the same situation.
Coming to Israel, I realized that Israel really is able to handle these kind of crises in some way. Like I came from the United States where COVID was really bad and I couldn't really leave my house at all. And I came to Israel, and after like a couple of lockdowns, a couple of segarim, I started to realize I got vaccinated back in February, and the whole entire world just changed. I got out of it a couple months earlier than everyone else, and the university adapted so fast. They put in the cameras that follow the teachers everywhere in every single classroom, and we just went into hybrid classes. I was back in person. I felt like education was working again. My professors were really amazing in that they jumped right back into lecturing. They really made connections really fast, even though we didn't have the entire semester. It felt like one of the best semesters, and I've learned so much from them, especially the
Incredible.
setting.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
The in-person dynamic setting was one that Tel Aviv University was like, it was the first one to adapt to these kind of changes, and they did a really good job.
Wow, amazing. Well, I'm so happy to hear that. If you had to send a message to other students considering studying abroad, what is the message that you would send to them?
I would say that in the formative years of your life where you're starting to find yourself, your culture, your identity, it's really amazing to be in a place where the culture is so complex, and even more than that, it like pushes you to make yourself a better person. Like being in Israel, you do have to fight for some things, and you kind of have to adapt to the environment a bit. But at the same time, there's so much access to new languages, so much access to amazing food, so much access to new social relations, that I think being in Israel in this time of your life, like 19 to 20, 20 to 21, 18, it's really the best time to be here.
Great. And what about a message to your parents who let you come?
I'm so happy that they let me come. They, although I haven't seen them in a while, I'm really excited to see them. But I think they'll see the changes in me for the better. I think they'll really appreciate that they sent me here. and I really appreciate them for giving me this opportunity.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Asher, for being with us today. I really appreciate it. And I hope that we get to interact sometime in the near future.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.